Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Let's go ahead and get started. It's 7:50 a.m. Thank you for your patience. It is the 2nd of November, 2021. Today is a big day for me, not only because we get to wake up and we have the opportunity to trade together, but also my youngest is turning 16 today. That's right. That ages me. My youngest is turning 16 today. So super excited. Ashley and I went out and bought her a car, and it's bittersweet, right? Kind of a catch-22. It's like really cool to be able to see your kids grow up, but at the same time, giving them the keys to a car is scary, right? And I've spent the last year driving around with Chloe and making sure that she was good to go. And so again, I'm very excited, but also a little scared. So wish me luck here as we have and get to celebrate our 16th birthday for Chloe. So I'm excited. And then we roll into the market, right? So I'm excited about the market too, but there are some very important things I want to go over with. So I have Thinkorswim in the background. This is what I trade off of, and we are just now starting to use TradingView and introduce TradingView here. And so I'll be flipping back and forth and showing you some charts. On the ES futures, that's where we're always going to start. This is my market leader. I get a lot of sentiment just from trading off of the ES futures. Last night, I gave you guys a blueprint. That blueprint worked out very well. And if you notice here, we're going to pull that up really quick. And my only trade last night off of futures was the oil futures. Okay. And I missed my opportunity here because, I have a life. I had things I had to do. But, we had a green box and we had a red box, and we make it pretty straightforward. It's called entry on reclaim because you can't be perfect all the time. So, because of that, I've tailored around my entries and my exits. Okay, so we wait for the reclaim. So we had this green box. I pushed this out when price was up here in the middle or around what we call the line in the sand. And because of that, price came in. We pushed down. We didn't even reclaim. So that's awesome. That's what I love about this. We didn't even reclaim. We just pulled back. And this yellow line under here is called a trendy edge. When price is above it, we look for it to be supported at the trendy edge. And that's exactly what happened. If you look even closer, I believe we had some buy signals come in a little bit later on in the session. Yep, right there. Give me 1 second. Open this up. See these little green arrows here? So these are letting me know to buy, and this is simply what I did on oil futures last night. And I just sit here and wait for that. I turn up the volume, so when these things ding on my Thinkorswim, I can hear it throughout the house, and I'll just come in, take a trade, and then I push it into our levels to the upside. What we have going on right here, you can see I went ahead and put these beautiful little purple arches there, little maybe inverse head and shoulders, nice move from the green box, and we're waiting to see if we can spike right here into the red. Now, what I'm looking at is you wanted to be cautious if we open up near this red box. Okay, what that signals is that we are opening into resistance. Okay, I always say that futures like to show you what they're going to do. That's why they're called the futures, right? And so last night they showed us that they wanted to create a little bit of range, possibly going into tomorrow with some econ data, and also we got Jerome on the mic. And because of that, we could be creating range. When I look to the left, this is important. We had a nice little move up. We created inside and up here on a higher time frame. Price moved up just like this. Price moved down, and now it's just consolidation. It's pretty choppy in here. So from green box to red box and maybe back down to green box and so forth. When I see this sort of action in the futures, a lot of time your equity also is just basically sucking, that theta, just taking away from the premium. So be careful when trading options. Now, we don't only trade options, obviously. I trade futures, equity, and options. But on the option side of things, just be careful. All right, make sure that you're being a little picky today. Look for the right setup, but most importantly, wait for that setup, right? We talk about speculation and waiting. If you're speculating, try to go smaller and then add as you start to feel convicted. All right. If you're waiting, just wait. until your levels are hit. Let's talk about those levels really quick. Again, to the upside target here around 46.12 on the ES futures. To the downside for right now, support is around the line in the sand. And that line in the sand comes in around 46, 46.04.25, 46.04.50, somewhere in there. And if we come back to the green box, look for a higher low. Let me go ahead and draw that out for you. So for some reason, we pull back like this. Even if we come back to the green box, if we do not take out this low, expect buyers to come right back in, and then we just kind of chop, and your entire blueprint will look like this today going into Fed tomorrow. So it would just be like a sideways action. Okay? All right, so that's ES futures. Then I want to go over our ETFs and our neutral strategy. So we have the SPYs, the Qs, the DIA, and the IWM. Notice how SPY is rounding at the trendy edge. That would be that yellow line that's there. We are finding support there, and we are committed to the 4-hour candle. The 4-hour candle. That means if I'm looking at a 4-hour, I have to wait for the 4-hour to close. I don't speculate. I don't get scared out of a trade. I wait for it to close. So yesterday, when we pierced below here, we look for this trendy edge to be support, but you can't make a decision if you're committed to a 4-hour, say only an hour into the 4-hour. Right? That's how that works. So you have to wait for the close. If you try to do something irrational based off of a 5-10 minute candle and try to buy puts, right, then you could get hurt here. So we're just rounding off of this level, okay, and we're above the neutral, which is 459.79. For right now, we're right into resistance. There's an inside and down here, but we are supported again by this yellow line. Let me go ahead and give you guys some numbers so that you guys can jot these down. So SPY is above the neutral and rounding off of the edge. Support is 458.70 and resistance is around 460.40. Folks, we're right there, and these are the same notes I gave you this morning, early this morning. Okay, so right there, so just a little bit of caution, and this makes sense, folks. When we pull back on futures and before we open up in the morning, we tend to push up into resistance to give you that little bit of hope that the market will continue to blast off. And I'm not saying that it won't, but just like yesterday, nothing's changed. Okay, you have a pivot high and you have a pivot low and prices right here in the middle. Okay, so because of that, it's speculation if you're going to take a trade in the middle. Don't diddle in the middle. All right? So I would much rather see if price can get above 461.18 or break below the trendy edge. Everything in the middle, I'm just going to chill out. QQQ, pretty weak if you ask me so far. What do they need? You could throw a line on this if you want to, something like this. And if it starts to break above there, then price could move up towards 388.96. But support is 385, resistance is 387.30. Current price is at 386.80. All right, it's just cooling off a little bit. Which brings me, let's look at TNX here in a minute. DIA, the diamonds, or the Dow Jones. Notice that we're supported at the trendy edge as well, and we are above the neutral. Our support is 357, resistance 359.44. IWM is hit T3. This is important because if we break above that, I need to give you guys some more targets. But notice that we are resisting right here at T3. This is why the trendy neutral strategy works so well. All lines to the upside are resistance. Example right here on the SPY. Example right here on IWM until proven otherwise. Okay? Once we pass a resistance line, that then becomes support. Okay? Notice right here, 386.39. Once we pass that level, see how we pass it? Then it becomes support. Okay? All right, let's go ahead and move on. So these overall, IWM looks strong, DIA looks strong. If you want, I'll be looking at like the top 5 holdings in both of these for some of your focus trades this morning. SPY looks pretty good as well. All right, and QQQ is just lagging a little bit. All right. All right, so far as things that we're looking at this morning, well, first of all, we have positions on, okay? And so let's go ahead and minimize this really quick. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put plug in here. Plug looked really good this morning. It's up A little bit. I believe it was at 43 at one time. You could see up here it pushed up towards 43 and a half. That was really a big deal. Um, just like I was saying, as a target was resistance, once we pass it, it becomes support. Well, at least that's what we want, right? You can see here, price came in to 41.67 by end of day. I took profits off. We were already in plug last week. I took profits off. I used partial profits to roll. And so I did a weekly. And what I'm looking for is for price to continue to move above 42.61. So my current trade that I have in this is just kind of sideways at the moment. Okay. So I'm just kind of waiting for that to move above. And what I'm holding are the 43 calls for this expiration for this week. All right. And even though plug is a small number, it tends to be very volatile. All right. It tends to be very volatile and it could shock new traders. Okay. You're like, oh man, this thing's friendly. It looks like it doesn't bite. Right? Wrong. All right. It can move very quickly and the options are not easy. All right, so just keep that in mind. But this is my plan this morning. If 42.61 can hold, look for the pivot high test at or around 43 and a half. If we can get over that level, see this level up here at 46.83. This is more of a swing trade. That would definitely be a lotto if that's something you're looking for during the week. So an easy thing that you could do, which is really cool, is you can take your Fibonacci's from your levels and you basically do something just like this. Okay. And if we can get over that, then you start to use the 23, the 38, and so forth. So if we could break above this pivot high here at 43.46, then I'm looking for 44.22, 44.72, 45.21 on the intraday. Okay. All right, and we'll update you guys here in the room, no problem, as things turn around there. Okay. All right, so that is PLUG. Let's go ahead and take a look at our focus for today. I'm going to look at Facebook. All right, so here's Facebook. Let's get us over here at least on a 4 hour. All right. And this is what the chart looks like so far. So I have what's called a neutral strategy on Facebook as well. My trigger for going long would be here at the target above there. Let's go ahead and take these edges off so it makes it a little bit cleaner so you can see those numbers. But if we can break above the target 332.76, then I'm looking for 336.04 and 340.76 using that same methodology. If this, then that. If 332.76 gets bids come in, I'm looking for 336.04. The support from a swing perspective is at 323.26. Far as an intraday, okay, I don't want price to break down below the structure that it's trying to form right now. Let me go ahead and zoom in for you really quick. See the structure that's happening here? This looks like we could get it inside and up. If we break above there, things look great. I want this structure to hold. So I do not want to place my stops in here. I want my stops underneath, and then I want to look for these targets to the upside. Okay, and that is Facebook. Let's go ahead and look at PFE. All right, let's see here. George, where are we? 4509. George had a member trade yesterday, and one thing that we did this morning, or yesterday, sorry, is I gave the members here an opportunity to show their skills. And most of these guys, I would say, 99% of them use trendy levels and trendy methodology. And sometimes, we go off and we look at other things as well, and that's cool, as long as it kind of fits into my profile. But, this came into a trendy edge yesterday, and George said, hey, let's buy the 46s. So we bought the 46s knowing that they did have an earnings, so a little bit, risky. But we just used the methodology, and then this morning looked like it's up a little bit, 3.46% so far. So congratulations to you. If this hits 100%, you get a month free. That would be your second month. Just saying. That would be your second month, right? You keep this up, just hanging around here would be free, right? Pretty cool. So good job. All right, so that's PFE. This is what we're looking for. If we can move up towards 46.61, this is where I would expect to trim and take profits. All right. All right, so we went over Facebook, we went over PFE. Let's go ahead and look at trade plans really quick. We got BURL on there, Burlington. BURL. All right, this one is breaking above the clouds, not only on the day, but on the 4 hour as well. Again, very straightforward blueprint. Don't get overwhelmed. You can see here we are creating inside and up. That's what I like about this. We're pushing up over the selling pressure here. And if I take you over into the daily, we're right there. We're right there, folks. Right now, we are just up about 40 cents or so. I expect a little bit of a pullback potentially here. I understand that it's up just a little bit, but I'm going to wait a little bit. I'd like to target right here at 301 by 315. Timing is the variable. Notice that we have a gap to fill here, right? So right in this area, so that could also be a target. You know, if I'm thinking like debit spreads, I could do like 300 by 305. If I just want to do naked, I'm looking at 300, maybe even closer like a 290 with some time. And where I want this to hold long term would be 264, so several weeks. Say if I buy some options for several weeks out, then I want to see it hold 264. If I'm going for, say, just this week or maybe into next week, we're going to use the Fibonacci's here. All right, and I'm going to measure this breakout from this inside and up, so just about right there. And I'm going to go up to the pivot high, and this 23 and 38 is what I want to see hold. So my stop would be around 282. Now, disclaimer for me, if it pulls back like I want it to, if it pulls back, then this is actually an area that I want to start looking at buying the 300s or the 290s, whatever one I decide. Okay. So that's for me, and that's what I'm looking at on this trade. Now we put CAR in here. They had some earnings. This was a something that a member wanted me to take a look at, and so I put it on here. And so far, let's see what's happened. Yeah, it's broke right through the neutral. So I love this. Okay, this is why I love the neutral strategy, because I could put something up here, and if it just breaks through, I'm not interested. You know, it's like, boop, just throw it away, scratch it. So for right now, you know, I'm not really interested in this unless it starts to break back above the neutral. So what I could do is create an alert, right? And I just want to create that, and then once that goes off, I'll get dinged, and then I could take a look at it. But for some reason, it gets back over the neutral, takes out that pre-market high. I'm looking for 191 by 198. All right, other than that, folks, I want to keep it pretty light. We do have, good morning, Ace. We do have, you know, quite a few swings on that look like they're going to do pretty good when they open up here. It's kind of the same situation. We got member trades, meaning I took your trade, just like I said with George's trade there. I took your trade, all right? You get 100%, you get a free month, and that's beyond LVS, MS, PFE. SE was almost at 50% yesterday. All right, whoever had that trade, who was that? Was that you, Humble Pie? I think it was, right? And it was one of the more expensive ones. So I was like, you know, do I want to sell this and just watch to see if it gets to 100%? Right? Does that mean I have to hold it to 100%? Not necessarily. So, anyways, it was almost at 50% yesterday, and good trade on that. So all of these ended up green, and so good luck to you guys on that. It looks like if all of you were to hit 100%, I'd be giving away what, five free pro memberships. So pretty cool. All right, is there anything else that you guys want me to take a look at? I know we have FCX. I added to that yesterday. I think you guys are saying it's up a tad. It's up about 30 cents or so. This is what I'm looking at on FCX. You can see here. Let's go into a bigger time frame. All right. trying to get above that cloud. Resistance is up here towards 39.82. If we break that, I'm looking for target 1 towards 43 and 46. Sure, let's go ahead and take a look at that path. And let me reach out to... All right, so I'm going to give you members, some trade plan. If you have a name, again, just let me know, and I'm going to give you my opinion on what I see here. As far as the daily is concerned, you're right here by an inside and down. Notice that. When I bring my cursor in here, okay, I want you to notice this. Okay, we teach this. See this inside and down? It's at around 53.44. Notice where price is, 53.10. So what am I going to say to you? Right? That path is pushing into resistance. For me, not only is it in the cloud, but it's at an inside and down. I'm not saying it can't bust through because really it's kind of weak selling pressure, but I like the trade better if we can close a day over this 54.72. So let's go ahead. I'm going to add an alert there. If we can get above there, we'll be above the cloud and above the selling pressure, and that's what I'm more interested in. Okay? And let's see, add alert, cross, right? There we go. All right, cool. So right there on PATH. If we could break above there, sure. Then what I want you to do is follow your eyes to the left. See this red trendy sell indicator? That's going to be your target just right above there around 56.60. And if we push there, 58.39. And then I want you to look for a gap fill up towards 62. I like this long term as long as the support can hold underneath this structure around 49.5. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Going to take a look at SNOW. Disclaimer, this one is always very tricky for a lot of traders. It can get a little volatile, and because of that, your mindset needs to be a little bit different, right? So your mindset needs to be, hey, I know this can be volatile. These type of trades, I like to personally, what I trade is my risk. Meaning if I put 500 bucks on it, I say to myself, I can lose 500 bucks. Just take the trade, give it a little bit of leniency. Okay? All right, let's go ahead over here to the weekly. This is what you're looking at, folks. Look at this inside and down. You're just now starting to get above that, which is a really big deal. So let's go ahead and place this here. Okay, we're going to name this resistance, just like that. And then your target, all right, we're going to come up here and come right above this selling pressure. Okay, and I'm going to make that a target though, and I would expect things to kind of slow down there. Okay, let's go ahead and clone that and then pull that up to a double top. Actually, we're going to do it right there. Just like that. And then let's find some Fibonacci extensions because I know you guys are bulls, so we're going to find the extension here, and we're actually going to go from the pivot low, okay, right here, into the double top, and right there. So there's your extension targets, okay. So for a long-term trade, we're talking 480 into 550 long-term, okay. Far as support is concerned, from this look right here on the weekly, I don't want to see price drop below 268 again. All right, so right underneath this structure here, we're going to name this support. I like this blueprint, so I'm going to go ahead and go just like this, and we're going to throw this in there for you guys. That's pretty. All right, so that's SNOW. Short term, I like to see this resistance line hold. Okay, does that help you, Shamar? So on resistance, I want to see this line hold today. Okay, and that's roughly around 354.5. All right. Let's look at Piton. All right, so here's Piton on the weekly. First of all, underneath the cloud, not an easy trade. Focus on giving your trade some sort of score, 1 to 3. Okay, 1 to 3. 1 being maybe your best, 3 being your worst. I would have to say this is a 2. Well, I would say a 3 because you're underneath the cloud for right now. The only thing that I like about it is that you're coming in here with some support, right? See right here? Okay, support down here at around 80, 60. If we can get through the cloud, you're going to have some issues right here at this inside and down. So I would definitely make this a resistance and a target. But for now, I'm going to call it resistance. Okay. Your target is going to come in right above here into this area right above. Okay. And again, we have the video for our pro members how to identify all of this stuff. Okay, just like that. So this is what your blueprint looks like for now. Obviously, once you get out of this channel, okay, things will look better to the upside. But it's kind of like a push and pull type of chart, meaning right above everything is resistance, and so push, pull, push, pull, and then once we can break out through here, it'll be a push, a pullback to test what was resistance, and then right up here you have all this supply. So it's not easy. It's not an easy trade. Okay, not an easy trade. So therefore, I like time, and you got to be patient with this thing. Okay. I hope that helps. All right, let's go ahead and look at AFRM. All right, AFRM, I drew this up for you guys yesterday. Did I put this in the room? If not, then I'll go ahead and just take a quick picture and put this in here. Okay, this was the blueprint. All right, that's your neutral. 23 by 38. It's at 152.87. I think you guys talked about it yesterday. Mike said he had bought some calls or something before the close. Which reminds me, let's see, before I move on. Good morning, Wallace. Let's go over here to TWLO. One of my favorite names, and just kind of hanging out. Had some selling pressure. We pulled back into this inside candle here, but see, we've already tested it. But the key here is that we made a higher low, so I love that. All right, so your divergence comes with this right here, this cloud. See how this cloud is up here, and you got all these EMAs pushing down. That's going to be a target. Okay, and if I threw some Fibonacci's on here, this would most likely line up with my fibs. Okay, let's go ahead and put some trendy edges on here really quick, just like that. All right, and you can see it's also lined up with a trendy edge. So right now, as far as Twilio is concerned, if you can keep this low, all right, and we round out, I would expect a rounding bottom here, something like this, and then slowly come back up, okay, and do something like this at that trendy edge. Notice if something like that were to happen, okay, you get something like this, okay. So you got to be able to read the market and understand by using really good levels. You can see these patterns before they happen by using supply and demand and Fibonacci and stuff like that. Okay, so that's what I see right there on TWLO as long as the low holds here. Okay. As far as support goes for, intra, I would say 290 needs to hold. Looking for a move up into 316 possibly. All right. All right, so 8:20. I want to get my charts ready and make sure that we are ready to go. So that's pretty much going to cut it for right now. I'm going to throw on some music. One thing, wait a minute. One thing I want to show you was Netflix. Okay, this is a great education tool using trendy edges and so forth. Okay, so I almost took this trade right before the end of the day, but since I had taken 5 member trades, I was like, I'm not going to put another trade on just in case you guys are wrong, right? But I want to show you that price came back into the trendy edge. All right, and because it did that, we wanted to make sure, okay, that you understand why this thing is popping, right? So right here, let's put it in Netflix. All right, there we go. All right, so yesterday we came right into the monthly edge. All right. Remember, when price comes down into the edges, we look for it to be support. This is a doozy for a lot of traders because a lot of times stocks will come into your support levels right before the close, and you're stuck with that feeling like, do I take this position into the night? Right? How many of you guys probably suffer from that? I'm sure many of you do. All right, so price is pulling back into a support level, but you have to decide whether or not you're going to take it overnight. A lot of times, what you'll find is that they do pop up into the overnight session, unless for some reason we are in a bearish market. If you look at the banners on here, all of them are green. This is not a bearish market. This is simply digesting this big move that Netflix had, and it came right back down into support. And then you wake up this morning, $3 or $4 up. Not huge, but I just want to show you that, just playing off of these edges can pay off. You guys know that many times. So we'll go ahead and minimize that. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and get my charts ready. I can't wait to trade with you guys. Some ER beats, SPG, INCY, WLK, IT, KKR, NRZ, LPX, UAA. One in parentheses are exceptionally strong. So INCY, WLK, KKR, very strong. Upgrades, ANET, SPG, Now, ZI, Google. We'll definitely look at Now here in a minute. And Tesla's given a gift of long-term calls if we can afford it. All right. So let it pull back a little bit, and then we'll decide whether or not we want to take some Tesla a little bit later on in the session. Okay. Again, thank you so much for taking the time and listening to me this morning. We're going to have a good day. Stay positive. Put a smile on your face. Remember why you're here. We're very fortunate and lucky to be here.